2017. I'm happy to report that I got to meet Lisa Copeland over 2 years ago when we did the first Women in Automotive. She literally came off stage. I was like, I loved what you said, and you and I have to be friends. And instantly, we struck up a friendship that, quite frankly, she is one of my most favorite people in the world. And I know a lot of people, but this woman is just so fierce and fabulous. And if you've never seen her speak, I promise you, you will think the same of her as I do when you finally do get to hear from her. I just want you to know, since last year, Lisa Copeland has filmed a TV show in Canada, and rumor has it, it may be on the History Channel. We'll find out more about that. And she's going to be hosting an automotive radio show for a major network in a very big market. Shh, it's a secret. I can't say anything more than that, but I'm sure we'll find out more about that too. Her current clients include such big companies such as H&R Block, State Farm, Ford, Subaru North America, and Google. And she likes to enjoys consulting and educating consumers and industry insiders. You can find out a whole lot more about her at lisacopeland.com. But for right now, I just want you to know she is pretty freaking fabulous, and she is fierce, and she is crushing it. She also has a book that's available for sale over there. It's called Crushing Mediocrity. It's also available on Amazon.com. I can't hold this awesomeness up anymore. It is my very distinct pleasure to bring to the stage the one and only Lisa Copeland.
Oh. Okay, where's my clicker? Where's my clicker? Do I have one? Oh, yay, I have one. Okay, how's everyone doing today? Okay, can I just tell you how grateful I am that all of you are in the room? Because about 30 minutes ago, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna have anybody to talk to. And they were going, don't worry, Lisa, you know, everyone's upstairs in the breakouts. And so anyways, this has been an amazing conference, and in everything I speak at around the country, this one's my favorite. You know why? It's because it's my heart, and these are, these are my people, and I said that. And funny backstory to that is that I wanted to do a course or create some IP around approval addiction, because I think women really have a problem with the fact that they want to be liked, they want to be accepted. And so I went out and I bought the domain names, these are not my people, and those are not my people.com. And I had to ask my daughter, the school teacher, which one would I use? But I want all of you to know that you are my people, and I am forever grateful. This is my third year to be able to keynote this conference, and I hope I get invited back every year. It's my first year to serve on the board, and just to see how this conference has grown and to see all of you new people that are here, it really is a labor of love. And so I want to thank my fellow board members and Christy Roman, who this was her brainchild, this was her baby, and what a great undertaking it was. So if we can give a hand to Christy Romans and the Women in Automotive Board, because they have worked day and night on this. Now, in typical Lisa fashion, I was coming up to do Think and Grow Rich for Women from the fabulous and amazing Sharon Lechter, who you heard from yesterday. And it was going to be a little more of an educational course, but as I tend to do, like I did earlier in my breakout, I changed my mind this morning. It's not going to be as much on the book as a phone call that I had this morning from somebody who's in this room today, and I'm not going to give any names. So before I go down that road, what did Sharon Lechter say yesterday that is the sexiest thing you can do? Okay, Sharon, see? Where's Sharon Lechter? Down there. Okay, there you have it. So now, okay, they have learned for women to think and grow rich, it's assets. But as I received a Facebook message this morning from somebody in this room, somebody I don't know, somebody I've never met before or ever had any conversations with, and she said, could you call me this morning? I'd like to talk to you before you go and you talk to the crowd. And that's always a little dangerous if you're a speaker sometimes, because, you kind of, obviously she had a message she wanted me to get out. And, as you're trying to prepare and get ready for something like this, something like that could be a distraction. But something inside of me told me I needed to make the phone call. So I called her this morning, and she said, I want you to know something before you leave this conference, and I hope somehow you can work it into your message. She said, in the last 30 days, my husband's divorcing me, my mother died, I'm going to have to file personal bankruptcy, and I don't know what my job situation is. And she said, and at one point in the last couple of weeks, I even thought about taking my own life. But she'd already bought a ticket to this conference. And something told her that she needed to come to this conference. And it's just been, she's lived her darkest days, but she knew that this conference would maybe help bring her back. At the conference, she thinks that she's found new employment. She said she made a tribe of some new friends. And she says now that she knows that she can move forward because all of the speakers have done such an amazing job of inspiring her. And all of you out there in this audience have inspired her, and you've helped her, and you've listened to her. Rumor has it some of you drank some wine with her. So she felt about as good as I did this morning. And she said, I want you to know, Lisa, this conference saved my life. And so what a testimony. So as I'm thinking about that, and I'd only put on my foundation at that point, right? I didn't have my eye makeup on. I am crying listening to her. And so I've got to go wash my face. And I said, I love you and I love this story. And let's connect next week. I said, but I'm going to go wash my face, put my makeup on, and I'm changing my entire keynote. No pressure, because Sharon Lechter's in the audience, and then my agent Sheldon, who's in New York, just happened to be in Orlando, and he's like, oh, I'm going to come hear you speak. And so I'm going to go totally off of what I was going to do. But it still goes around to think and to grow rich. And it made me think how rich we are in this room. So we know assets are sexy, right? But think about this. All of you are assets. This conference is an asset, and we're assets to each other. So that does make us wealthy. And again, this lady that I didn't even know, and she was Facebook friends, but she wanted me somehow to get that message out because her life has been forever changed. Does anybody in this room, do you feel like you made a connection? Do you feel like you made a friend that'll be a friend for the rest of your life?
Yes, I do.
Do you feel so inspired, or have you figured out something that you couldn't figure out before? In this room, has anybody had anything life-changing happen during this conference? Yeah. So, now if I can figure out how to use the clicker. Big button. Big button, of course it is. So, Warren Buffett, and I love his perspective on women, and I've been doing some interviews over the last couple of days about this conference, and we don't need to beat this into the ground, but it gets down to, at the end of the day, this is not the guys against the girls. This is a conference that we hope to inspire women to want to enter the automotive industry. Because see, what we know is that together we're better and together we're stronger. But the problem is, and I truly believe, that there are not more women in the automotive industry because not as many women are throwing their hat into the ring. It is not that sexy. Assets are sexy. So the automotive industry is not that sexy sometimes. It's hard work, and especially if you're on the retail side of the house. So this conference is to inspire more women to throw their hat in and to take the chance. And that's why we've been so excited this year that people like Mercedes-Benz showed up, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, Mini Cooper, just to name a few, that our OEM partners have come and they've joined us because they know how important it is for women. But again, it's not us against the guys. It's us wanting to inspire women to enter the industry. And then, of course, we always have the guys that get it, right? Because the guys that want to support the women. And I just think we need to give a huge shout out for the men that support this conference. And it's the men at home sometimes, right? They're taking care of the kids and they're handling stuff, and the men at the office. And I also know that several of you in this room paid your own way to get here. Because you know why? This is an asset, and you have to invest in yourself. Sharon talks about investing in her book, Think and Grow Rich. But you know what? There's a lot of ways to invest. You can invest in your bank account. You can invest in your 401k. But do you know what women don't do? Invest in what? You don't. Women do not invest in themselves. So just the fact that you're here and you're taking the time out of your busy schedules, and many of you wrote checks to be here, I hope and I pray that you got it 100-fold back. So Warren Buffett says the key to America's future success lies in helping women achieve as much as their male counterparts. But the difference is, and those of you who saw me speak last year when I spoke on fear, so many times women do not achieve what they are worthy of because they don't believe, they don't have a mentor, they don't have somebody rooting for them, they don't have somebody encouraging them to take those steps. There's no reason in the world that men should be paid more money than we are or set in higher positions. But we have got to inspire more women to come to the party when it comes to the automotive industry. And it's going to be events like this that help the change, right? We're starting a movement. And I saw it yesterday, but we've already started the movement. The movement is here, but here's how we support the movement. We show up, and we show up every year. And we go back to our dealerships or back to our jobs, and we tell about the conference. And it's not the guys against the girls. It's going to be so important that you all tell the people in your organization that we are about empowering women, and we're also trying to help everybody learn how to work together. Because do we all believe that we are stronger together than we are by ourselves? So I'm going to tell you guys this. You know, why women? I'm going to go back a year, and I got permission for some people in the room, and this is where this really started getting to me today. I start thinking about what has happened in my particular life in the last year and in the lives of some of the people in this conference. Well, the first thing I did is I cut about 6 inches off my hair, and I'm watching the video yesterday going, I want my hair back. So I'm going to grow that out. I decided that after yesterday. But there are some people that aren't with us today that were here last year. We saw a video about our friend Tammy. You never know. Joni Stuker, one of our board members, in the flash of an eye, boom, she's been in the hospital for 5 months and learning how to walk again. We lost a very dear friend, myself and Kate Frost and Matt and several of us, and his name was AJ, and I'm going to tell you the story. I was in Connecticut this January, with the Hoffman Auto Group, Susan Lane, if you're in the room, and there you are. And I was doing their kickoff sales meeting for their 10 dealerships. And I got a message from AJ, and AJ's a friend of a lot of people in this room, and he says, oh my God, girl, you're in town, I'm gonna drive. And the weather was bad, it was icy, so he drove an hour to come see me, and him, and Susan had dinner. And I could tell something was on his mind. I didn't really know what was going on, and you know, Susan was tired and she needed to get home because the weather was bad, and so I was kind of trying to wrap it up. I was staying at the hotel and knowing I had to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning to speak to, 10 car dealerships. And AJ said, Lisa, can you stay and have one more glass of wine? Well, anyone who knows me, that's not really a hard ask, but it is hard ask in the fact that I knew I had to get up early and it was cold. It was like I hadn't even checked into my room yet. But see, I knew that my friend needed to talk to me about something. So we spent a couple hours, 1 or 2 glasses of wine, I don't really remember. And we talked about our grandkids, and he was having, and we talked about our jobs and the things we were going on, and we spent that couple of hours together. And then he finally said, you know what, I better get home. And I said, yeah, and I hugged him goodbye, and I never saw him again because he died 45 days later. And so, there are just times that when somebody says, can you have one more glass of wine? Or can you call me this morning? I don't know you, but I want you to know what happened and what this conference has meant to me, and I hope that you can tell my story. It's somehow weave it into your speech, somehow weave it into that people can hear that something like this can change your life. Because see, there are days, we don't know what's gonna happen, just like with Tammy, just like with our friend Joni, just like with AJ, and I can go on and on. But there are people in this room that I've talked with at the conference that since I saw them last year, they've been diagnosed with cancer. There's somebody in this room right now, since I saw her, the last time I saw her, lost a child. You see, we don't know what's going to happen. So the fact that we come together and we show up together and we collaborate, that's why we do this conference. But that's why it's so important to every single one of us in here. But as women, we have to support each other, and we have to take the time when a friend needs an ear, or if somebody you don't even know reaches out. There's a reason that they're reaching out to you. They need help. They want their story told. So I really want to challenge you guys with that. So when we look at the economy of women, women hold 60% of all the personal wealth in the U.S., and they make 85% of consumer purchases. I can tell you at my house, it's 100%. There's nothing coming into my house that I have not okayed, so that's just not going to happen. But over the next several years, they're going to inherit $30 trillion, in the next 40 years. So ladies, we're empowered, okay? But what are we going to do with that power? What are we going to do with it? Are we going to own it? Is everybody in this room going to own their power when they walk out of here? Are you going to go in there and are you going to fear less, which we talked about last year, and I actually went back and rewatched that the other day. Are we going to fear less, right? Because the number one thing that'll stop us from success or stop us from getting the job that we want or the job that we deserve is fear. And that's why we're here today, because I want to empower you. I want to tell you that it's time to fear less. And you look at these stats. I don't need to go through them. We already know the stats, right? It's not fair, but life's not fair. So the way that we're going to combat all of that is that we're going to stand up and we're going to come to conferences, but we're going to empower one another. And earlier today, I did a panel with an amazing group of executive women, and the room was packed out. And the number one thing that kept coming back up, because I let the room decide the questions to the panel, was mentorship. By a show of hands, who in this room needs a mentor? Who in this room wants to be a mentor? Yeah, but there's an education behind that, right? I mean, you can't just go out. I mean, you have to learn how to do it. Who in this room is committed to intentionally finding a mentor? Right. And who in this room will intentionally go out and find somebody who needs help? That's great. And I'm so blessed because two of my mentors, that's another thing that's happened. I got to introduce them, Jody DeVere and Sharon Lecter. And I just knew that they would become fast friends. But you know what? I've always been very intentional about to have a mentor. You know, people have said to me for years, Lisa, you don't need a mentor. Like you do. Yes, of course I do. I have the same problems that everybody else has. But I've also learned how to seek counsel and to find people that are smarter than me and wiser than me or have more life experience than I do. Because that's what's going to keep us from making critical mistakes. But that mentor also will be the person that will push you when you're not quite sure that you can do what you need to do. So are we going to commit to do that and to help each other and to embrace each other? And I'm just putting up all these stats, the women on the boards, right? We all know it is not going the way that it should be going, but it's getting better, absolutely. And I love this slide. You know, Sharon talked about it yesterday, and it's just so true. You know, people have asked me for years, Lisa, it seems like you have it all. Yeah, but not all at once. So know that. But you've got your work life, you've got your home life, you've got your spiritual life, you've got your financial life, you've got your friend life, you've got your automotive life, right? But how could anybody run that many lives? You can't. That's why you have to live one big life. Let me hear you guys say it. It's one big life. That's what we believe. And so therefore, when you don't have to compartmentalize those pieces of your life, you can live that one big life. And you can bring people in to help you live it. Because as women, we have so many responsibilities. We're a caretaker, we're a mom, we're a boss, we're a mentor, we're a friend. I mean, we do it all. And knowing the women in this room, we like to do it all, right? Would you guys want anybody to take that power away from you? But I also hear that it stresses us out. But if you can get into the mindset that you're committed to live one big life, and that there's going to be certain areas of your life that might be a little bit off balance, like this scale, right? When does the scale ever do this, where it's perfect? It doesn't. But what happens with women is that if one piece of our life gets off balance, it throws us for a do loop. So it's when you've got that mentor, when you've got that tribe, when you've got those people that you can reach out to and ask for help. That's when your life will come back in balance, and that's when you can truly, truly live that one big life. Now, in the book, Think and Grow Rich for Women, there's 13 steps to wealth and significance. But I really wanted to drive home today what the wealth is. The wealth is your assets. We know that. Sharon said it yesterday. But the real wealth is sitting in this room. It's sitting with all of you and all of us together. But I did pick, because I did do this presentation several weeks ago, I picked the 4 of the book that are the most important to me, that I believe these are the 4 traits of the 13 traits in Sharon's book, Think and Grow Rich for Women, that I personally use in my life. And then first step toward riches, right? But again, not just money. Riches to us is friendships and relationships and money and just everything we do. It's desire, right? You have to want it so bad that you're willing to do whatever it takes. And I know for the women and the men sitting in this room, when you're in the automotive industry, sometimes, it's just a desire to get up in the morning because it's the end of the month, you're not going to hit your number. All kinds of stuff happens in our crazy business. And that's why you've got to do what you love. And so the way that you on the desire piece, you set a goal and you have to set a date. What is your goal? What is the date you're going to achieve it by? Then you have to make a plan to get there, and then you've got to write it down. That's critical. And I just take that back to when my young team broke the world sales record back in 2012. We set a goal. We set a date because we had to do it in 30 or 60 days. We made a plan on how to do it, and then I wrote it down. I called Automotive News and said, I have a bet working with Kniskus, and we're going to break the world sales record, or I'm going to leave town. So, but whatever that is, okay, that's the first thing you've got to do. And the second step toward riches is persistence. Right? You can set a goal, but if you stop 3 feet from gold, another one of Sharon's books, but I'm so entrenched in all the Napoleon Hill and Sharon's stuff right now, but so many people stop. See, persistence is what will make you fail, or lack of persistence. You can't stop before the goal. And I'm going to tell you a little secret that I learned, because I'm older than most of the people in this room, that when it really gets tough, like when you're right there on the cusp of success, that's when it gets super tough. Push through. Push through. Because if you push through, you'll get there. Because 97% of the people will stop 3 feet from gold. So at that point, all the competition becomes eliminated, and you just keep pushing through, and you don't give up, and you persist, and you persist. And that is when you will see your greatest success. The third step towards decision, and again, these are my steps, these are the ones that I live by, is decision. And you have got to reach your own decision, meaning that whatever it is that you're pushing toward, whatever it is your goal is, whatever it is you're trying to do, it has to be because you want to do it. Not because your boss wants to do it, not because your husband wants to do it, not because your friends want to do it. It's got to be a burning desire inside of you that this is what you want to do, and you're going to do it regardless, no matter what. You're going to persist. You're not going to give up. So you have to decide. Has anybody in this room during this conference made a decision? Okay. I know some of the decisions there might be some career changes. Don't put your hands up because this could be on Facebook Live. But anyways, so you have to make the decision. And then you need to mastermind with like people. And masterminding means is that you come together. Right? You come together with people that have the same kind of goals and aspirations, that you can support each other, and you can help each other get to the end goal. And be very, very careful who you trust. Very careful. I think Ralph Gilles talked about it day one, where he said, be very careful in oversharing, because that's what women like to do, right? Find your tribe and stay loyal. Find the people that you trust. And they don't have to be the people you work with. They might be some people you met at the conference. And then the fourth step towards riches is you have to have organized knowledge, okay? Deliberately seek the company of people who influence you to think and act on building the life that you desire. So what does that mean? It's the power of association. Who are you hanging out with? Are these people helping you get to where you need to be? Because if they're not, get rid of them. You can find new friends. Now, you usually can't get rid of your family. You're stuck with them. But I don't want I don't want anybody to steal your dreams. I don't want something that happened at this conference that you're like, I've made a decision. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go. And then you come home and somebody tells you you're crazy. There's no way you could get that promotion. Oh, that was just a big motivational conference, okay? We're not. We're here to help you guys live one big life. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. That's why all these speakers who were amazing got on airplanes and they traveled to pour into every single one of you, because it matters. Sharon talked about this yesterday, but I love it. I have a little bit different twist on it. than Sharon, but yeah, I mean, she wrote the book, so I have to honor that, and she's sitting in the audience, because if she wasn't here, I'd do something a little different. But it's all about passion. Like, you've got to do what you love and love what you do every single day. And you have to mix that with the talent, okay? Because at some point, you can love to do something, but if you can't monetize it, or you don't really have the skill set to do it, I'm going to recommend personally, figure out something else to do. Right? Because sometimes passion without talent just becomes a really fun hobby, and a hobby's hard to monetize. And then you have to bring in the association, and we've talked about that, right? Who are you associating with? Just the fact that you guys are here today. I think of how many friends I've got in this audience, and how many people that are going to be my lifelong friends. I call them my tribe, everything else, and I met them at this conference, and I've met a few new friends too. And that is what is so exciting to me. So, it's the power of association. And the other thing I will, talk to you about is sometimes you have bad associations. Sometimes there are associations that you need to get rid of. And it could be a habit, it could be a person, it could be a job. I don't know what it is. So you want to have the power of great associations, but you also want to start getting rid of some of the negative associations. And then, of course, you have to take action. See, you can do everything in the world, but if you don't execute, if you don't go out and make it happen, it's never going to happen for you. So I want to really, really challenge you is that, you've got the passion, you've got the talent, you've surrounded yourself with the right people. But if you don't execute, if a contact that you made today and you think, I really like that person, I really, I'd like to get to know this person better. I'd like to maybe work with this person someday. Maybe I'd like to work for the company. But then fear stops you from picking up the phone. You don't execute. All the time that you've spent networking with these amazing people and vendors and future employers, you never know. If you don't execute, nothing will ever happen. And then, of course, you have to have faith. And you've got to have faith in yourself. And that's hard for women to do. It's very, very hard. When we look in the mirror, and we are our own worst critics. Do we all agree with that? Like, we see everything, but it isn't what everybody else sees. And I'm not up here to tell you that I'm any different than any of you when it comes to that. But I want to just give you the words that you have got faith in yourself, and that whatever decisions, half of you raised your hands that you'd made a decision today, right? Let me see the hands again. If somebody you've made some decisions, okay. You've got to execute them. You do not let fear stop you. Do not let fear stop you. Please don't. Execute, have faith in yourself, and then I believe to my very soul that the universe is going to take care of you on it. So here are the 6 ghosts of fear. It's the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, ill health, the loss of someone, old age, and death. And so many of these, honestly, there's nothing we can do about them, right? Sometimes, this is the stuff that paralyzes us. This is the stuff that stops us dead in our tracks. This is the stuff that keeps us up at night. But if we dwell on these, we're never going to be able to move forward. We have to spend time putting things into our mind and spending time with people that are positive and people that can take us to the next level. Because again, we cannot control the day we die. We can't control a bad diagnosis. We can't control losing a loved one. All of the things that I told you that I know that have happened since the last time I saw you a year ago. But what we can do is we can capitalize on the time that we have together. We can, from the power of association, we can come together as an organization. We can support our movement, and I know movement is the word that we're using right now. We can tell other people about it. We can help a friend. We can, if somebody reaches out to you from the conference and wants to talk to you or needs advice, take the phone call. You never know how you could change that person's life. Because you see, we alone, the board of directors and Christy Romans, we cannot change the world. We need everybody to help us change the automotive industry. Everybody in this room. I had so many people come up to me and they said, Lisa, I want to get involved next year. Great, come on. Lisa, I want to be considered, as a speaker or a breakout. Great, come on. I just can't tell you, everybody wants to get involved, but then they don't execute. And I'm standing here for the women in automotive, the board of directors, to tell you, every one of you is invited to join us, to execute, to speak, to serve, to show up, whatever it is you want to do. You guys are our family now. We want you to come. We want you to join us. This isn't about 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 women trying to do it. We need 3,000 women to come together And we need you guys to help us, and we need to lock arms, and we need to show this industry that we are serious about what we do, that we are serious about the fact that we want to see gender parity, pay parity, everything in the automotive industry. We're so serious that we're willing to come together 2 times a year, brainstorm, learn, train, teach each other, support each other. Because you know what, ladies, we're not going to go away in the automotive industry as much as some of these people would like us to go away. We're not going to. And thank you, Mary Barra, for everything that she does. And thank you to my good friend Ralph Gilles from FCA who gave that. Everything he said was true. You know, he's intentional to hire women. And I think one of my favorite slides of his is when he said, these are the old guys. And he said, and now I have the responsibility of bringing on this next team. And it was diverse, and it was women and minorities, millennials. It was what America looks like today. But we all have to make that decision together. For those of you in leadership, you have to be intentional about who you hire. You have to inspire women to want to come in the car business. So guess what? That means when you go to parties or you go to events, you can't talk about how terrible it is. Instead, you want to inspire them and tell them, you know what, it's a great opportunity. Is it tough? Heck yeah, it's tough. But I do make a lot more money than if I was doing something different. So I want to invite you to join me. I want to invite you to learn more about the automotive industry. That's the only way that we're going to build it, ladies. And we can't do it by ourselves. This conference next year needs to be 3 times as big as this. It needs to be. We need 1,000 women here, because at that point, they're really going to know we're serious. I'm not 100% sure that the press is totally convinced yet that we're serious. Are we just a bunch of women who come together and drink wine, or are we serious about revolutionizing the auto industry? Right? But the only way that we can do that, ladies, the only way we can do that is that you have to show up every single time. And it's not going to be convenient. And it might cost you some money. And you're going to have to bring some people with you. And you have to help us share the movement. We need you on social media. We need you to come together. We need 1,000. That's my challenge. 1,000 attendees next year. And I bet you some of the big press people that we've asked in the past to come, I bet that they're going to show up. Because how do you argue with 1,000 women? This is not a Tupperware convention, boys. Right? We're here to revolutionize the auto industry. But 300 of us can't do it. It's going to be 1,000, and it's 2,000, it's 3,000, and then all of a sudden now we're working with our sisters in Canada, and now we jump across the pond. That's how we incite change. So as I wrap up, because I am staying on today on to get a copy of today's presentation, you text CRUSH IT, capital letters, to 444-999. I'd love to keep in touch with you. I want you guys to join the movement. I want you to invite people. We need you. If you want to do anything at all for women in automotive, anything, you're invited to come. That's why we are the most inclusive group of people you ever want. Because together, we're going to show the boys and an industry that we are serious about success, there's no holding us back, and that we have more to offer than the men do, but together we are going to build the strongest industry in the world. Because I'm going to tell you this, and I'm closing with this, women are the economic stimulus package of this country. You want a strong country and you want a strong industry? Someone said to me the other day, oh, the auto industry is going to start contracting. No, it's not. It's not going to contract if we can inspire women to buy cars, and if we can inspire women to come into the industry, it won't contract. See, our country needs us. It is our responsibility to show up in this industry and to inspire women to buy cars and to get into the auto industry. And with that, I want to thank you. Safe travels home, and I love you guys. Thank you for having me again.
Lisa Copeland! Oh, I love you too. You're awesome.
Great job, kiddo.